All right, welcome to another KissFAQ feedback loop. In the past week, we've had several videos up that got a few comments on, so let's go through some of them. First video of the week was the merch alert for the Detroit Rock City 50th anniversary single and swag. Whenever Kiss releases new merchandise such as this, there's always going to be a 50-50 chance that there's a bunch of rage-baiting comments in the comment section. So let's see. Rex Smetzer. Hey, Rex. I like the shirt in color, so I just ordered it. Which shirt? Which shirt, Rex? The green one or the I guess the retro? I guess Daniel pointed it out as a Flyers or whatever hockey team kind of tie-in for the 70s t-shirt. Hey, you know what? There's no wrong answer, so the price is not bad either. So Voice of Reason was a no, not for me. Marcus Moon was a no, thanks. Jordan was all crap. Joel was in there with I will never put so much as 1 penny into Gene's pocket. Well, it's going into Pop House's pocket to be totally accurate, or bravado, and thence elsewhere. So the rest of that comment, yeah, that's nice. And then Marcus Almighty, I'd consider that 7-inch single, but I remember how shit the edit of that song is. Yeah, it's a pretty bad edit on the single. But you know what? I've seen a few people already receive theirs, and very cool is how that single does look. So again, it's right for you, it's not right for you, it doesn't matter a damn. Speaking about receiving things, actually, I won't probably remember to do this for the mail call this week, but I did get from Elaine my Conversations with Phantoms Revisited, and I gotta say, it's really nice. It looks very good. It makes it very readable versus the original format. The addition of some more pictures and color and the layout change really does do a lot more for the book than how it originally was. Not that it was terrible for the information that it contained, but again, nice work to both of you gentlemen in updating that book. I do believe it's sold out now. There may be a few copies here and there. Check Elaine's socials, and Ron's for that matter. And thanks again, Ron, for coming on the show. All right, so moving on to the second video of the week. Actually, I got them backwards, but it's too late to care. Was NECA's Dressed to Kill album cover. 7-inch scale action figure. Okay, I'll say it. First up, Dragonfly with a correction, apparently. I can't remember what I said, but the legendary band are wearing their manager Billy Coin's snazzy suits. Yeah, I don't think they were their own suits, other than, I think it was Peter's. Peter was a snazzy dresser, but whatever. Whomever the shirts and ties, I think Bob Gruen owned the tie that Gene wore that was recently reproduced in the, I can't remember which box set it came in, but, probably the Dress to Kill one would make the most sense. But there you go. They weren't their own suits for the most part. M. Murphy, thanks for this video. I just pre-ordered this. Very cool. I probably would have missed if not for your video. Yeah, I'm going to try and do a few more merch updates here and there, because why not? Something to talk about. Christopher Franchi. Awesome. From John Novak, time to announce the Rock and Roll Over box set. Who knows what they have scheduled for the rest of the year. They're sure going all out to celebrate the bicentennial year of 1976, so why not? Anything's possible. Guy Incognito. Will there be cream variants? I do remember one of the pictures had Gene's flies open. Who knows what they'll do with these? Again, it all, I guess, depends on how a product sells, whether they do future ones. Arjun Music, or Aryan, NECA usually delivers top-tier sculptures, but their Kiss figures fall well short of what we've come to expect. Yeah, we were having a good go at some of the appearances of those. Again, they are not final, and hopefully they are improved on the final product, because a couple of them were pretty poor. Damn Bear, cash grab, and I want it. Max Stargazer, your lack of enthusiasm is overwhelming. Hey, I just report the news. We're not supposed to inject oh wait, I did inject bias into mine. Fake news. Rusty Blades, Gene's face and makeup are off-looking. Yeah, they were a bit odd, and Ace looks short from, I like this. This name is worth reading, Sir Richard Plumaloaf. Ace looks too short? Yes, he does, because he was more than a 6 foot. Not necessarily a hot look, but an all-American man. All right, moving on to the main video from the week. Episode 647, Complicated Devils, and that was just a bunch of board topics. Basically, were Kiss more complicated musically than they're given credit for? That came from a comment from Bruce Kulick. When was Gene his most devilish? So that's just where that title comes from. Starting with Rex again. I thought the green Destroyer shirt was actually a cool variation on just the black t-shirt, so I bought it. Okay, that answers that question. I wish it could have been purchased separately, but I still think the price was reasonable for both items. It seems Pop House is trying to make merchandise more affordable for the fans. Yeah, I mean, again, props to Pop House for what they're doing. They're still trying some of the same things. Again, I have to assume that that's because they probably sold, or they think that those ideas are okay, but the execution needs to be improved, or whatever. Again, I don't buy a lot of that stuff. Says the guy who did just get his package as well for the Kiss Army membership. But M. Murphy, I totally agree with Mark on 100,000 Years. When I discovered it as a kid, I clearly remember thinking it seemed like a song from a different band, and I instantly fell in love with it. Yeah, agree with that. It is an outlier in the catalog, or at least the early catalog of the songs the style of songs that they wrote, really way out there. Jeffrey Koger, pardon me. Totally agree, Julian. It's inconceivable to me that they didn't record audio and or video of Eric's first show. Yeah, I will continue to demand whether or not it exists. I want it. And yes, I'd love to see a re-release of the originals and originals 2 on vinyl and CD. I think if they do re-release the originals and originals 2, they need to shift the paradigm rather than just being a bog standard LP reissue. Maybe try and think outside the box for how to reimagine both of those, because again, they're not going to be able to go out and create new for these. They have to use what they've already got. And I don't know if there are issues in terms of licensing or legal with some of the things that were constructed for the Japanese market or not. I know we have seen some Japanese singles recreated for the covers, but I don't know the business complexities. Regardless, I like to see both of those too. M. Murphy, again, the Alive 2 pick of Gene always was so cemetery when I was a kid, but as soon as I heard Gene in an interview and realized he was basically a big nerd, it took all the creepiness out of it. Still a great pick. Yeah, that's hilarious, actually, to think, yeah, Gene is a Tonka teddy bear, a mama's boy, a big softy cookie monster, not an evil incarnate. Jay Zach's dad would love to have seen Badlands live. There's a really cool live video that does circulate from Badlands. It is on YouTube. If you haven't seen it, search it out. Same with Gary Moore. And I can't remember the Brian May, whether there was any video of that circulates. So Mark G, High Wire rules. The Badlands debut is fantastic. Yeah. There's a few debut albums that I just absolutely adore to this day. Motley Crue, Too Fast for Love, Tesla, Mechanical Resonance, Cinderella, Night Songs, Rat. Well, EP, I'll take it. Out of the Cellar, I'll take it. Badlands. So there's a lot of great debuts. Wasp, Winged Assassins. M. Murphy again. I've got a few damaged LPs from Kiss Online, but they've always replaced them pretty easily. Yeah, it depends on the stock availability on how easy it is to replace stuff, but I had a return once for a damaged item, and I had no issues with that return. So there we go. I got my refund. Jay Zaxstad, Unholy is definitely the first Kiss song when I think of when it comes to Eric Singer. After that tour, he was strictly vanilla drumming it. I've seen him with Sabbath and Lita Ford. Wow, that's going way back. And Alice, better drummer outside of Kiss, but I don't really blame him. Yeah, you saw him with Lita Ford. That's worth an essay. Like some of the stuff. What albums did they have at that point? Dancing on the Edge or Out for Blood? And that's it. So, and maybe did she do any Runaways? George Taylor, I was looking for the Kiss and Tell LP from 1984. No idea what that is. Good luck to you. Vinyl Arden. Those new Dress to Kill figures look like dollar store knockoffs. Yeah. Charles Ronson, hey Mark, Ezrin didn't approve of that specific single edit of Detroit Rock City. He was gone by that time. I don't know what producer or exactly who was involved in butchering of that specific version of DRC, but it certainly wasn't Ezrin. The band had severed. Yeah, they were well done with Ezrin by the time that single was released in July of 1976. Remember that they had a panic attack when Destroyer came out. They tried to line up Jack Douglas to produce the next album, and they'd also allegedly thought about trying find a salvage destroyer because they were scared of what they created and what the fan reaction was going to be. And they did lose a large amount of the leather and silver audience, but gained obviously more than they lost in the long run. Read some of their autobiographies about all the fear and doubt and uncertainty going on at that period. Ken thinks it was Sam the Butcher from the Brady Bunch who did that edit. Might well have been. It could have been some axe murder as well, for that matter. Definitely one of the worst edits ever made, and really a shame because it ruins the song. No wonder it didn't do well. There we are. That's some feedback to the feedback in a loop for this week. I do appreciate everyone who takes the time to comment on our episodes wherever you've listened or watched them, and those who participate in the live broadcast. You're very much appreciated because you really do change the dynamic of the show. So thanks. That's it for this week. Oh, look, you're still here, watching or listening. We're not sponsored, monetized, or supervised. We're only in this for subs and likes and kicks. So why don't you mash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment about today's episode.